Welcome to the Social Chameleon Show, where it's our goal to help you learn, grow, and transform the person you want to become. It's that time again, book review time. We're doing this week, this episode, we're doing Thinking in Bets, Making Smarter Decisions When You Don't Have All the Facts by Annie Duke. Annie Duke, real quick, she was a poker champion turned business consultant, now teaches how to get comfortable with uncertainty and make better decisions as a result. What do you think of this one, Ransom?
I don't know, man. It's hard to say. It's
mixed reviews.
Yeah, mixed reviews. I guess like a lot of the information. I guess this is for me. Maybe not for the out there watching it, but a lot of information for me was kind of, I guess, maybe the way it was presented is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Itself to me didn't seem new, I guess, so to speak. So it was just kind of like a different way of explaining what I already know, and I didn't get any. I mean, I got a few new things out of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's what I liked about it too. Was a different lens, I guess you could say, on the information. There's a lot of heavy sports, heavy poker gambling terminology.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's what sets us apart. You're more like of the sports jock. I know, like the opening. The book is about friggin' the Super Bowl with the Seahawks, and I was like, I don't really care about all that. You probably, oh yeah, I remember that Super Bowl. Like,
yeah. It's funny because when she was talking about that, I was trying to think because I mean, I guess the big headline, the big, anchor of her book is that final play of the Seahawks Patriots game where Russell Wilson threw that interception, and I was trying to think back. First of all, I wanted the Seahawks to lose, so I know I was happy about that play. But and that's just really touted as like one of the worst plays in Super Bowl history and all this type of stuff. So I was trying to think back, like what did I think in that play? And I mean, I don't know. I can only pretend what memories I think I have. But what I was thinking was, I'm pretty sure I was like, well, Russell Wilson, you're shitty, and that's exactly what I expected, and I was happy about it. But it's funny how everybody Monday morning quarterbacked that, and she really goes into a lot about that. And that is, I think, why I like this book is because of some of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a lot of stuff in there that you probably relate to more than I do. But I guess that's the other takeaway from this book that I don't necessarily agree with. Like, the book is more about, and I guess I'm confused too about what the book was when I started reading it. But, the book is all about this stuff, right? Like using your skill to make decisions on things that you basically don't control the outcome over, which is, to me is kind of like futile. It's like, why are you trying to break down all this skill and like trying to put all this stuff into something that you basically have no control over the outcome? Like, I don't know. It just kind of seems self-defeating in that aspect of the book. But I don't know. Teach their own, I guess.
And that's what I like, though. It's like, yes, you can't control these outcomes, but how much of it can you influence? How much of this can you make sure you're not using luck or whatever these things as excuses and all these different types of things. That's what I really liked about it. It kind of gave you like we said earlier, a different lens or different framework to think about these kind of things.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I don't, I'm just not here to say that you can't do anything about the situation you're in. But
yeah.
At the same time, it's like, that's the one thing I don't really enjoy about poker. And I guess she talks a lot about that too. It's just like, it doesn't matter how much skill you have per se. Like you could lose it all just to luck,
right? Right.
It doesn't matter how much you have, and it just so, in analyzing the opening play, like in actuality, I guess, statistics wise, they didn't think it was a good play, but it technically was a good play because if you miss the ball, like you get another down. Nobody took consideration,
right?
So it's still running it on the fourth play or whatever. But whatever. I mean, teach your own. Yeah. I'm not a sports jock. I could not relate to any of the stories that she had in this book. Like barely anything. I think she had like a Princess Bride reference in there. I was like, yeah, finally something. But other than that, like there's a lot of stuff they talked about it. And I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. I don't remember that. I don't remember that outcome. I don't remember that article. So maybe that's part of the reason I had a hard time with the book too. Is like, a lot of examples that she gave, I couldn't really relate to.
And I guess maybe the frame for recommending this book is like, if you want to learn about this and you like sports and or gambling, poker, like this is a good way to think through that lens, that analogy, those situations, definitely.
Right, but I mean, if for somebody like me, you know, it's just like I do a lot of things, but like this is not like my heavy thing. Like she's heavy into sports. Like she has tons of sports.
Right.
Tons of like big headline news. Like I'm not even into big headline news either. So, but I don't know. Nonetheless, I guess you enjoyed the book rather much.
I did.
For me, I'm like, man, it's okay.
Yeah.
But there were, I guess, a lot of things in here that I think that the author does very elegantly in explaining, and can kind of shed light on things. So, you know, I had a hard time stomaching the book, but you know, once it's digested, I did pull forth its nutrients. Like, it's not too bad. But yeah, I don't know. I like it.
There was a couple of things. I guess my favorite parts were thinking about hindsight bias. I think that's always like a big thing. And I think this is her analogies were a good way of looking at that in a practical sense. You know, it's like through poker, or through the football, or through whatever. It's like it's easy to look at your hand and be like, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I knew this would happen, or these different things that are really just fallacies and things that just aren't true. And there's no way you could have ever predicted that. There's no way you could have ever done it. You know, and that's the thing that really, I think, gives you a nice framework to start to take this into your real life and look at these things. And when you catch yourself saying, I knew that was going to happen. I see this coming, and say, you know what? No, that's not true. That's bullshit. And there's no way I could have known this. If you did, you wouldn't have made the decisions you did.
You know, and I guess just for those who, if you want an idea of what the book is, like when I first started reading the book, I thought she was going to talk about like how to play poker and like skills on like how to play poker and stuff like that. And then like, as you get halfway through the book, you're like, no, that's not really what she's talking about. And then like, you're like, well, what is she talking about? But like, you know, to me, the book is about life, and it's like how you look at life. And she kind of takes it into account of all of her experiences, number one of which is gambling. So, and poker being the main aspect of that is basically, you know, when you play poker, like you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You have certain rules that people follow for the game, and it's the same thing for life. People follow certain rules, and it just kind of like, this is how, you know, another way to look at life is like playing poker. So like, that's kind of like what I took away from the book. So I don't know. That's my best way of explaining what the book is. I don't know if that's accurate, but I don't know.
I never thought of it through that type of thinking about it.
Just reading the book, though, I was like, what am I reading? Like, what is she talking about? Like, we're talking about poker, we're talking about sports, talking about gambling. Like, I was like, and then like come to the conclusion at the end. Like, she doesn't state it that way. Yeah. Again, another reason why I'm not too great about the book. But the way I read the book, like if you want an interesting way to look at life, and the fact that you can't control all the outcomes of life, yet the rules are simple, right? Go to school, get a job, or start a business, or whatever. Like there's different rules that people follow, but for the most part, the rules are the same. Yet the outcome of your life is always, you know, not really always up to you, say. And that's kind of like, you know, so same thing with the hindsight bias that you're talking about. It's like, well, I knew that would happen, or I thought this was like, no, you know, she was a ref or something for a card game. She was a dealer for a card game.
She was the announcer or whatever.
Yeah, she's like the announcer for it. And then like some guy's like, oh, you were wrong.
Yeah.
She's like, I wasn't wrong. She says, it's just that the least favorite hand won the round. And then like the next time, the guy's like, oh yeah, the least hand won again. Like the lower percentage won again. Yeah. And like that's kind of what it's about. Like it's just like, you know what things are looking into life. It's like, oh, I knew that would happen. Well, you didn't know what happened. If you think about it from a poker aspect or from a gambling aspect, you would kind of put odds on that. Like the odds of that happening are 90%. Mm-hmm. But is that really going to happen if X, Y, Z? And like, from there, when you look at poker, you also have to put like, well, how much money am I going to put on that bet? Right. So like, I don't know. To me, that's kind of what I looked at when I saw the hindsight bias. Is like, it's not just like, oh, I knew that would happen. It'd be like, what are the odds of that happening? And, what am I willing to risk to either make that happen, or if it doesn't happen, that's kind of where the book to me kind of excels in a lot of things. I think she does a really good job of explaining things in that way, which is kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? We think about like different things like that analogy, or like people with the 2016 election. It's like, oh, you were 80% chance to win. Like, why didn't you win? Well, right. It wasn't 100, obviously. Like, there was still a chance at the other option, and that's the thing we don't think about. It's like, what do you were favored to win? Why didn't you win? What are you 16-1 to win? Like, why didn't you win? Like, statistically, you're going to win. Why didn't you win? Well, because there is the other portion of that, and that's when you got to stop thinking. Was I not having the information that I needed? Was my analysis correct? Was all these different things? You got to go back and say, yes, all that was good. I just got the smaller percentage of likelihood actually was the outcome. Okay, great. All my decisions were solid. All my information was solid. And that's when you got to look and say, this is a good result. This is a good, a good situation, good information, poor result.
Process, yeah, but the outcome is not favorable.
Right.
And that's kind of like, once you get through that, and like if you read the book with that lens, like then the book to me makes a lot more sense. Mm-hmm. And kind of how to do that. So I don't know. One of the things I liked about it is how she talked about skill versus luck. And for those of you out there reading, that haven't read the book and don't know what I'm talking about, like she uses skill and luck like in, I guess, different definitions. Mm-hmm. So skill is a desired outcome that was accomplished due to your own, things within your own control, your decision-making process, X, Y, Z, versus luck is an outcome that comes, without any of your skill. Like that's just life happening, or that's just the way the cards landed, or, like there was no real decision-making process in that. There was no real skill, right? The skill involved with that. It's just kind of the way the cards landed. And like, she does a really good job of explaining it. I think in the book it's called Fielding Outcomes. Is
that sounds about right?
Yeah. So Fielding Outcomes is what it is. It's basically like, and she goes even further to explain, like, especially in poker, and you can even take this forward to your life. Like when things happen that are good to you, like you tend to take credit for that. Like, that was me. Like that was my skill, right? That made that happen. When in actuality, it may have been luck, right?
Yeah, right.
She further to like do the opposite of that. It's like when other people have success in their life, or when other people, win the hand, the often bias is like, oh, that person was just lucky. Mm-hmm. They're actually not more skillful than I am. They're just lucky. And like, I don't know, those kind of things to me is just kind of that when she talks about things like that kind of like turns the light on. I'm like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I felt that way more often in my life than not. Right. But, I'm pretty sure everybody feels that way. It's like, whenever two teams go against each other, one of them loses. Mm-hmm. How many times were you that person like, the other team was just lucky? It's like, they won because they were lucky versus like, what did you actually, looking within, it's like, did I actually deserve to win that game? Was I making the best decisions? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff, like that's it. That hits home with me. I don't know. I can relate to that a lot.
Yeah, those are the nuanced things that I like, those little light bulbs like you're saying, turning on. And that's the thing I really liked that I kind of gained main things I gained from this book was analyzing those wins and asking yourself those questions. Like, did I win because I made the best decisions? I did the best research, whatever it is, or did I win because I was I was lucky. I was in a good, I was in the right place at the right time. Like all these things, like what am I taking credit for here? Like, am I taking credit for skill or am I taking credit for luck? Like that's fun. Like we don't sit back and analyze the wins. And if we do, we're not taking through a lens of what did I leave something on the table? Did I get everything out of this I could have? Like how much more could I have won? How much easier could it have been to win? Like that's like the things that like, oh shit, like I don't think about those things, because you win, you're like, yeah, I'm good, I'm great, I'm the fucking man, I won. Like, how did you win? Why did you win?
But you know what I mean? Like that's just the thing. The other thing I like she kind of brings up about is like life is more like poker. It's not more like chess.
Yeah.
I mean, like chess is very calculated. You know what I mean? Like freaking, pawn takes knight or whatever. Like that's pretty concrete. Like that's pretty solid. But the game, the way it opens, each person has one turn. And like from the way the turns are going, like you can kind of predict the outcome of that game by the way it's going. Like sure, a person can do a move that you don't predict, but you can essentially just kind of turn your way around and go about that. Versus poker, you can't really determine any of the outcome. You play the best hand you can. It's like if you play chess and you're like, okay, check, and then the other person next move gets checkmate. Like that doesn't happen in chess. But it can happen in poker, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, chess is pure skill versus poker is skill and luck.
Right, and like then she gets further into like talking about game theory and stuff like that. I was like, oh, but she's right in explaining the fact that life is that way. It's like, so what if you're the number one jock on the football team? Like, that doesn't mean you're going to be the most successful person in the high school. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you're the smartest A student in the class, like that doesn't guarantee you success in life. There's still an element that's outside of your control, right? Your luck or whatever you want to call it. That's just the way the card's drawn or timing of something or, who you meet in your life, like, that can kind of control or kind of change everything. And it's not based on skill at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that old analogy, right? The A and B students work for the C students, right? So it's like, you never know. Those things don't dictate outcome.
Yeah. And that's, again, like I was saying, like this book is an interesting way to kind of look at life. Like, it's like, was that something that happened? Even though it wasn't favorable, was it skill? Was it luck? Was there something you could have done better? Like, yeah, those are all kind of cool things to sit with the book. So.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is that's fun stuff about this. Yeah, I don't know.
Something I see looking down there.
No, I was just trying to think about something. I don't know. Never mind. Moving on.
Moving on. And then
go ahead. This is another interesting.
Just one of the other.
Go ahead.
No, just one of the other parts I liked about the book too was, like how you're talking about analyzing wins. Like, she forms a pod, right? I don't know, a whale pod. I don't know what kind of pod, whatever kind of poker pod she plays. But groups of people where they actually get together and they analyze not only wins, but they also analyze the losses too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did I really do that hand correctly, or did I play that to the best of my ability, or the way the position is? And then, like, there's one point in the book when she just got really upset, and she's like, that guy's so lucky, blah, blah, blah. I should have won that hand, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, the people in her pod are like, save it. Like, we don't want to hear your story. Like, we don't want to hear your story. Like, I was like, damn. Like, but I guess I kind of relate to that a lot. I don't know. But because I'm more of the truth seeker type of person than I am the person to just kind of vent my emotions. I don't know. You're more of a venting emotion kind of person sometimes. But
I go in between. Sometimes you just want to get some stuff off your chest. I think to me, I'm just at a point where I don't know where to go next, and it's just like you just got to like spit all that shit out to like think through that.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, in this kind of like, the thing I like is we might even do an episode about truth seeking later. Is just like, it's such a hard thing to do when you like get out there and start looking for the truth in things, because other people out there, they're not interested in the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like most people they don't want to hear the fact that they won because of luck. You know what I mean? Or they don't want to actually hear that they lost because the other person was more skillful than they were. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to have the introspection, right? And to say, you know, you're fucking up, like you're not doing things, like you're not living up to your stuff. All you're doing is bitching, like you're going to lose some hands. Like, why are you losing them? Like, never mind. This is lucky. This is whatever it is in life or whatever you're doing. It's like, if you're not looking at that and you're not taking feedback and saying, listen, man, your TPS reports ain't up to par, but like, and you're like, no, it is. They're fucking bomb. Like, you know what you're talking about? Like, you're never just going to get better.
But no, I mean, but that's just life though. I mean, just look at like, you know, and again, if you're out there watching, I'm not talking to you specifically or whatever, but like this show is about, like, get out there and like notice the conversations you're having with people. Is the conversation really about the truth and really about what's happening? Or are you basically just venting? Or are you basically just spitting out emotions to kind of make something appear either more or less than something actually is, versus actually saying like, oh, like that was actually very skillful. You know, it's like, you know, and I hate this guy as much as this guy. I freaking hate Sam Harris. Like he always comes up in these damn conversations.
He's in your head.
You know, just like that book Lying. Like, I mean, I didn't read all of it, but you know, it's just like, you know, just the simple conversations we get into is like, oh, how's your day? Or, you know what I mean? Like what, you know, like these are not truth-seeking activities. These are just things that we can get along inventing. So just kind of know that in life, like we need both. You can't always be 100% truthful all the time, like, you know, but just kind of know, like, you can have a group of friends, right, your whale pod or whatever the case is, where you can actually just sit down and just grind it out and talk about truth where nobody's going to be offended in that conversation, and just kind of keep the emotions out of it. And, you know, if you can accomplish this in no matter what you're trying to do in life, either in your work or in your spirituality or whatever the case might be, like, you know, sitting down and speaking truths helps you kind of analyze, you know, what's going on in the background.
Yeah, that was the thing in that section that was really interesting too, that I never thought about before, was asking people or some type of hinting at people and like, are you here to vent? Or are you here for truth? Are you here to solve problems? And like, sometimes people just want to vent. And you just shut your fucking face and just listen. Sometimes people are venting or trying to communicate in a way that they're trying to seek the truth. And that was something I you know, especially with you know, your spouse or your kids or your friends, you hear them say stuff. You're like, all right, here's a solution. They're like, I didn't ask for a fucking solution. I don't give a shit about the solution, you know? And so lately I've been like, are you venting right now, or do you want like to talk through this? Oh, I'm just venting. Okay, cool. And it's just like, I can just let my mind kind of shut down and just listen, you know? And it's just like, instead of trying to like have this, you know, either argument or trying to solve the problem and making that into something it's not, like that's been kind of a good relief or stress relief or better communication thing. I've been enjoying that. That's been kind of fun.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So what are some of the other things you liked about the book?
I guess backcasting, you know, like that thought of that, like a postmortem or a different thing like that. I
don't really agree with the way she like put that out, or like making future copies of yourself. I'm like, weird. Like I just that analogy. I just like, I don't understand where you're going with this, but I don't know. In my opinion, backcasting is basically just the ability to kind of like think backwards from the result that you want to like get what you need, I guess, and just kind of putting everything all together. I don't really know about past and present, future, and superpowers and uniting one to become Captain Planet or whatever, but I really didn't like that analogy. But basically just, you know, you're trying to achieve a result and you basically start and you go backwards and think about what you're trying to accomplish and or do. And I don't know. Yeah, that's a good technique though. I'm not gonna lie. Bad analogy. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
Yeah. I mean, but like you're saying, the thought of, you know, and that's the thing that really really kind of stops people, traps people, gets momentum kind of killed, and all these things is you just think of this singular thing in the future. I want to do this, or I want to be that, and it's just like, and you're just thinking where you are and where you want to go, and you're just like, I'm just going to head that direction. I don't really know how. I don't know what this looks like. Versus saying, if I was to be a doctor, like, what would that be? Like, what? How, okay, I gotta go to residency. Okay, I gotta be an attending. I go to residency. I gotta go to medical school. Okay, I gotta get into medical school. I gotta go to college. Like, oh fuck, like, whoa, shit. There's a lot of steps to do this thing. And say, okay, you work back to where you are today. Okay, today I'm 16. I'm a junior in high school. Okay, what do I have to do now to get to that next step identified? And you're gonna find stuff that you never even fucking thought of. But if you know, like, generally where the next step is kind of headed, I do think it helps a lot, and it makes things feel more manageable. It makes the overwhelm kind of goes away a little bit. It's like, I just got to send 3 emails today. That's all I got to do, because I know that's working towards this bigger step, which is part of this bigger project.
Right. And then I'm not sure if it's in the same area or not, but like in the backcasting portion or whatever the book, I'm pretty sure it's like close to that. She also talks about thinking about negative things.
Yeah.
You know, and then like there's been studies out there, I guess, according to what she's saying, that have shown that if you can forecast in the future that there will be bad times ahead, you know, you're more prepared for them. In a way, it's kind of counterintuitive because you're putting negative thinking into a positive thinking thought space. But just being prepared for those negative outcomes can actually help you achieve your goal, which is kind of interesting. I don't know.
That's a thing I've been discovering lately, is that negative thinking, negative thought process in this context of, okay, what are the future problems? What are the potential risks? What's going to go horribly wrong? And saying, can I do something about it? Can I get an insurance policy? Can I pick up a scanner? Can I do whatever the fuck you're going to do to make sure that doesn't happen to the best of your abilities, without going overboard and becoming a crazy person?
Yeah, or a cynic and stuff like that. I mean, I guess I get that. Everybody's like, I was like, no, I'm not a cynic. It's just because I'm out there, suggesting or thinking that something bad may happen. That's not trying to, bring that into physical manifestation. I'm just preparing myself in the event that it does happen. It's like, you don't take out insurance on your car because you know you're going to get into an accident. Like,
right. You're preparing not to, but if in the event it does happen, I'm set.
Have it. That's the same. That's the same principle when you are going through this backcasting thing, is like, put some negative things in there. Like, yeah, I'm going to go to med school to be a doctor, and I'm going to have like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Like, those are good things to know. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not a negative thought process. Like, that's something that may stop you from doing it. But, if you're prepared for this negative event to happen, and like, oh, I can go do this, or I can, prepare for this to happen. Like, it's all part of the process, and it can actually make you more successful in the future. So.
Yeah, and that key element at the end you're talking about is already have thought about this, already kind of thought through it a little bit. When you get into a situation, you're like, hey, wait a minute, I kind of worked through this already. And then you're less stressed. You're not surprised by it. You've got something kind of set out a little bit. Actually, I have a contingency for this. We may need some adjustments, but I've already kind of thought through this a little bit. And you're more prepared, and you're ready to tackle these as you go on. I was kind of remind me, I was talking to somebody last week, I think, about an investment. And they're like, oh, people are starting to back out of this. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, oh, it's risky. There's no risk in this. Like, are you fucking kidding? Yes, there's risk. Like, there's money in the line. Your expectations got to go into this. I'll never see this money again. Like, that's hard sometimes for people, Like they're like, no, there's no risk here. I'm like, no, there is. Like, I can think of 12 things, like, without even being a jackass, that could absolutely go wrong that we can't control.
Yeah. And then
they were just so set in, like, no, nothing can go wrong. It's like, no, we got to be prepared for things to go wrong, especially that we don't control. We don't control necessarily the economy or the inflation or interest rates or whatever these things that we just can't touch at all. But we've got to be prepared for those. Like,
that's the kind of thing that I think that this book prepares you for. Like, when you talk to people who are just like 100% oblivious, whatever, it's like, You're like, okay, I'm not saying everything on the earth is going to go wrong, but what are the chances of something going wrong?
Yeah.
You're saying 100% is going to go right? Like, let's be real. Why don't we just say 2% chance that something's going to go wrong? You know what I mean? And like, when you start from there, once you can like break that border, like something small, right? You just nibble away at it. Like, oh yeah, 1% chance that this could go wrong. Like, okay, well, how much money would you put on that? You know what I mean? Like, now you can start breaking down the numbers and like, you know, what would you do to improve your odds of winning that bet? Like, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
And that's the thing that was funny about this book that I just really laughed to myself. And I know how many times you and I and all of our friends have done it. It's like, you're so confident about something. You're like, I'm telling you, like, that's John Candy's in that movie. You're like, yeah, put $100 down. I'm pretty sure that was John Candy. I mean, hold on a second here. Like,
it wasn't the money, dude. Remember slap bets?
Yes.
Flat bet came out. Like, everybody's like, back it down. Like,
yes.
Like, world is flat, bro. Like, oh yeah, slap bet. And you're like, oh.
well,
maybe it's round. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. But like, reminding me of that framework of like a silo thing that I don't think we've ever put any thought into that shit at all until you're backed in that corner. You're like, hold up a second. Maybe I'm not as confident as I thought I was. You know?
Yeah, it's like once the word slap bet comes out, everybody's like, oh,
right.
Yeah, let me research real quick. You're like, no, ain't no research right now. We put this on the table.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like when you got something to risk, when you have something to lose, like that's when your mind kind of focuses in. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I know we talked about all kinds of stuff and, you know, even in the previous one like that, what is it? Option 1 or option 2 thinking, right? Like thinking fast and thinking slow.
Yeah.
It's like automatically on thinking fast mode. Like it's already on that number 1 mode. And then all of a sudden when when money's on the table and slap bet comes around, it's like, oh,
yeah.
Like thinking process 2 comes into play and you're like, wait a minute. Is this something we should be doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think it's a good turn on there. I don't know. No idea.
Something just popped into my head real quick here about something kind of along these lines. I feel like the younger generation doesn't quite get these things a little bit. Maybe it's just we're older now. But anyway, my daughter she came home to school the other day and she's like, where's Vermont? I was like the northeast. She's like, that's what I thought. And I was like, don't you, all you fuckers have fucking the worldwide information in your fucking hands at all times. And so she's like, man, my friend, she doesn't, but she's the people that do. She's like, yeah, my friend Googled it. And she's like, it's in Germany. I was like, it's in Germany. I was like, you didn't challenge that at all? She's like, no, I was just like, she Googled it. It must be true. And it's like, and so then I Googled it and I was like, I don't know where she got that from. But like, she was such in the belief that Vermont was in Germany. Either she pretended to Google it or no matter what the Google results were, she just was like, yeah, it's in Germany, guys. Yeah. And everybody's like, okay, cool. And it's like, why didn't you challenge that at all? Like, I don't know. It's just like, that wouldn't have flown in our day. I don't know. Like,
well, in our day, we do slap bets. And it's
right.
Everything becomes real at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. When something doesn't make sense, it's like, no. That just doesn't make sense. You know, I did learn some things about Vermont. I had no intention of learning, but apparently they declared war on Germany prior to our involvement in World War II. So that was fun. That was fun to learn.
So that's why it's in Germany.
Right. That's what she must have saw that little headline and just conflated it together. And that's the only thing I could think of. I was looking up. I was really trying to find Vermont, Germany. If anybody knows where Vermont, Germany is, please let me know. I'm interested to see this. Anyway, that's the point. When you come up against this information, like don't be afraid to challenge it. Like even if it's a hypothetical of buy me lunch, you fuck, I don't believe you. Like, it's okay to challenge these things. Like it's okay to be wrong, to learn something new, but it goes back to that thing of that truth seeking. Like, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know of only one Vermont, but there could be a second one here. Let's take a second to look at this. And, sometimes people criticize it. I've been criticized for that. Like, why don't you just believe me? Because that information is contrary to what I know or what I believe. Let's look it up and let's confirm this. This is not a thing to be, vilified for. And we seem to do that and it does happen. and it's okay to seek that truth and to put down lunch, put down a soda on it, put down $100. Fuck, slap somebody. Like, it's okay. Like, we've got to be able to seek the truth. We've got to be able to speak freely so we can advance our knowledge. We can advance society. We've got to be able to offend people and say, hey, you're wrong. It's cool. I'm wrong too. Shit happens.
Yeah. But I think she talks about that in the book too. Like, depending on who's saying what, like you can have bias on that information just because like saying it versus like your neighbor. Like, I mean, in your daughter's case, like, you know, it's probably just the head of the class was saying it, so everybody's like, oh yeah, she's the head of class, like she's right. Like, you know, this book even challenges those theories. It's like, is that person, like, are you really agreeing with what they're saying, or do you just like them as a person, which is why you're agreeing with what they're saying? And the opposite is true too. If you don't like that person, it's like, oh, I don't like that person, I don't trust anything they say. But what might be, you know, we could bring up some names, you know, like Donald Trump or something, but you know, a lot of people may not like him, but like, is what he's saying true? I don't know. Might be, might not be.
That was eye-opening to think about. I started thinking about it too. Like, yeah, I always dismiss your dumb ass all the time. Like, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Nothing you say to me could be possibly true, even if it is true, because I just don't like you.
And then there's out there that might be watching this that know me intimately. It's like, yeah, it's like it happens all the time. Like, I don't believe you, but I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time.
Yeah, and then, I mean, to me, that something comes from that. Like, you know, the people that I think off the top of my head that I don't believe anything they say, that you violated this trust and this thing in the past. And it's like, it's happened so many times now that you're conflating something, you're lying, you're exaggerating. Like, you do this so often that I can't believe anything you say, you know?
Right.
Because your past behavior is dictated that.
You also got to be careful calling people out on that a lot, because, you know, I call people out way more often than I should. And I guess people get taken back by it. People, you know, think that I'm just like trying to do things, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just getting down to the whole truth seeking thing, and, you know, calling you out on whatever it is that you're saying. Like, it's not that I'm trying to discredit you. It's not that I'm attacking you. It's just like, there's a statement here, and we should kind of verify that statement. That's all it is.
Right. Yeah.
A conversation almost never goes well. Like,
no.
Like how well you think that conversation is going to go, like, it never goes well. And I do it all the time, but again, I build up a lot of rapport with people before I do it. But it's a rough conversation.
Yeah, I've got myself in a fair bit of trouble with that as well. Anything else with this book? Like, this is some good stuff. There's just still a lot more to cover. If you're interested in this topic and you like sports, you like gambling, you like poker, I think it's a great way that works with your mind that you could read and really get a grasp on a lot of these things. We've talked about some of these things, like we said before, from Thinking Fast and Slow. We've talked about Trust but Verify and a couple other these different things that we've talked about. This is a great framework if you have a sports mind, gambling mind, to learn these lessons.
That's good, man.
You got anything else, bud, that you really dig about this?
About it, dude. I mean, the book, to me, I couldn't really relate to it, but I did get a lot out of it. So
yeah, there's a couple. Like I said, that's about 3-4 things I really took from this, and to me, that's a good book to me. You know, a couple of things. Maybe I knew them, maybe I didn't. Or bringing them to light, putting them in the forefront of my mind, giving me a different lens or perspective to think about. To me, that's a win. So, and then go ahead, you're going to say something? I'm sorry.
No. Good, man.
If you're looking for more things, more wins, see what we got going on for the holidays, head over to socialcommunity.show/pickme. See what we got going on for giveaway. If you're listening to this, October, we're going to do a fundraiser for Feeding America. In November, we're going to do some homeless things, and in December, we're going to do some other gift giving and stuff like that. Whatever, if you're beyond that, see what we got going on for giveaways. Either way, see what's up. Especially with the holidays coming up, give a helping hand. You know, people, we're all humans. Shit happens. Sometimes it's lucky, sometimes it's skill. You never know. It doesn't really fucking matter. Just help another human out. And then we'll link to the book and any other resources and stuff like that for you guys to further your interest or knowledge on this. Ransom, any links or things you want to shout out for this?
No, man. This book is kind of unique in its own way, in its own right. So, yeah.
All right. And then this week's challenge, I want you guys to challenge your thinking, challenge your wins. Did you do all you could? Is this skill? Is it luck? Maybe throw on money on it. There's different services and sites and apps to throw money at stuff to help you do these things. Even if it's just a thought exercise, the best part to me is challenging your wins. Like if you think about it, if you're winning at your job 60% of the time, that's a lot of opportunity learning that you're missing. Don't miss that opportunity. Analyze those wins, see where you can get better. That's this week's challenge.
Yeah. And just for final thoughts, man. I mean, everything's just a thought out there until, somebody opposes it. So get out there, start opposing thoughts that you believe to be true, that you know to be true, just to see, just to see, like, is it really true? Or is the source that it came from true? Like, this book and this section is all about bringing awareness to, the outcome of life is not yet determined. It doesn't matter how much skill you have or how much luck you have. Your outcome is yet to be determined. So get out there, start analyzing, and be a part of it.
And if you're looking for people to help them with analyzing their life, you guys want to talk about this a little bit more, share with them, chat about it, share it for their gain and their knowledge. Like I said, I think it's a fun book. If you definitely, if you at least get sports and all this stuff, I've kind of beat that to death already. Sharing the show, leaving likes, leaving reviews, best way to absolutely support the show. Head over to your favorite platform and do that. In between shows, you can connect with us all week long at the Social Chameleon Show, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Past episodes and links to everything we talk about here today, you can visit the Social Chameleon Show. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep transforming into the person you want to become.